Today on the Fixit Shed, we're going to replace the front brake pads and rotors on my 2015 Toyota RAV4 Limited. Alright, so some tools that you want to have handy. You've got, starting on the left, a torque wrench, a 3/8 inch drive socket, a 14mm socket, a 17mm socket, 13/16 or 21mm socket for the lug nuts, a rubber mallet that comes in handy if you need to tap the handle on the breaker bar, a C-clamp for compressing the caliper piston, a screwdriver for also compressing the caliper piston when you first start so that you can get the caliper off, and a thin 17mm open-end wrench. So some other supplies that you might want to have on hand are anti-seize lube, a penetrating oil, brake cleaner, and a brake caliper grease. Alright, so let's get the wheel off. So if you're using a manual lug wrench, you're going to want to leave the tire on the ground, break all of the lugs free, then jack it up and remove the lugs and remove the wheel. So I'm going to be using my impact gun, so I'm going to jack it up first and just get the lug nuts off. And I did place a jack stand underneath, so it's not being supported by the jack. We're going to want to pry the caliper this direction a little bit to make some space so that this is loose and can slide off of the rotor easily. But before we do that, all right, I'm going to remove the cap on the brake fluid reservoir just to prevent any issues with back pressure or anything like that, to make it easier to compress the caliper. Alright, so now I'm just going to use an old screwdriver and put it in the caliper, and I'm going to try and compress this back just a little bit. There we go. I think that gave us enough play. Alright, so now I'm going to loosen these two bolts, and these are 14mm, all right, but you also need a wrench to hold that. Now, these are 17mm, but if I try to use a regular 17mm wrench, you can see it's too wide, it doesn't fit in there. So you want to make sure that you have a narrow 17mm wrench to hold that. So these are actually only tightened to, I think, 22 foot-pounds, so it shouldn't be all that tight. Yeah. There's that one. All right, and that one's loose. Okay, now you can see this is loose, so we were able to compress the caliper piston just a little bit, just enough to get it loose. And now when you pull this off, you don't want to let it hang by the hydraulic hose. You want to hang it up. So I got to get something to hang it with. Alright, so I've got a bungee cord to hang it from. I'm just going to put it through the spring up top here to hold it. Alright, now we can pull that out. And I'm going to hook it in there. How about one on the other side? Okay, so now that's supported. All right, and my brake pads are right here. Definitely not looking real good. Oops. Let's get the brake pads out. And now we're going to take off the caliper bracket. There's two bolts in the back, one here, one here. We're going to get those off. So these are just these are 17mm bolts. There's that one. And that one's loose. Alright, so let's clean this up a little bit. Let's get these pins out. So these glide pins have brake grease on them. So we're going to pull them out. Ugh. And I got just a can of brake cleaner, and I'm going to spray and clean that off. Okay. And the other one is pull the rubber seal down here and come on, there it goes. Alright, we're going to clean that off too. Okay, so and then I've got some brake grease, and we're just going to recoat them. And you want to make sure that you put these back in the same hole that you got them out from. It's quite possible that you can only put them in the correct hole. Alright, but you just want to put it on the sides. You don't want to put it on the end because you'll create a space in there that where the grease goes in and it won't compress. Okay. Okay. There's one. And we're going to coat the other one. Okay. All right, so those are back in. So now, normally what you would want to do with your the brake hardware here, these metal clips that hold the brake pads in place, you want to pop these out and you want to pop new ones in. So unfortunately, the brake pads that I ordered did not come with the brake hardware, and nothing is open right now. So we're going to roll with the old ones. I am going to spray them, clean them up a little bit. Clean some of the brake dust off. So these are what the brake pads slide on, and they actually, these seem to be in pretty good shape, so I'm not too worried about them. Okay, but I am going to put a little bit of the brake grease in there, just so that to keep them from getting bound up and so that they slide easily, and to prevent a little bit of corrosion maybe. So anything where you can, where it's metal on metal and it might vibrate and make noise, if you put a little grease on there, that might help keep any squeaking and squealing down to a minimum. Alright, so in case you missed it, which you did because my camera cut out, I sprayed a little WD-40 around there to loosen this, and then I put some 8mm bolts into these holes. Alright. Alright, and then just tighten them up with a wrench. to pop the, like that, to pop the rotor off. So I'll show you when I do the other side. Boom. All right. I think we're good. Yep, that's free. All right, so now we've got our new rotor. Okay, and a lot of times, all right, so a lot of times these are coated to keep them from rusting. So they've got like an oily coat on them. So we're just gonna take some of the brake cleaner and we're gonna clean these off real quick. I'm gonna flip it over and clean this side. All right, you can see that's just drying right up. All right. Just gonna put a couple of lug nuts on here to hold this in place while we're working on it. Okay, so now we're gonna reinstall the caliper bracket. Let's see. That's gonna go just like that. All right, now before I put the two bolts back in, I'm gonna put some anti-seize on there. Really, you just need a little bit on the threads. All right, and then I'm just gonna use the spread them around here. All right. Now let's see. That goes. All right, so these need to be tightened to 79 foot-pounds. So got my torque wrench, and I'm gonna set it to 79 pounds. There it goes. There it goes. All right, so I have the new brake pads, and you can see how thick they were compared to the old ones. So yeah, definitely time for some new ones. All right, so we're gonna pop these in. Just make sure the curvature matches the curvature of the disc. Okay, that's in. All right, and those are in. All right, so now we want to compress the piston back into the caliper. So you can buy a special tool to compress it, but I am just going to put the brake pad back in here, and I'm going to use a C-clamp. This is just a 6-inch C-clamp. Alright, and we're just going to squeeze this down until the piston goes back in so that we can slip it onto the new pads. Alright, that's back down inside there. So now we can slip this off. The old pad. Alright, so I'm going to go around and put a little bit more brake grease on some of these internal areas. I'm going to put it around the piston. Again, just looking for metal on metal places. Any place where you can get a vibration. Right. And now we should be able to slip the caliper back on. Just like that. So these bolts, you might need to just push them in just a little bit. There we go. And again, with the caliper bolts here, I'm going to put just a little bit, oh, that's a lot, of the anti-seize. And just going to use the other bolt and just kind of smear it around here a little bit. Alright, that one goes in there. That one started. There we go. Now these just need to be torqued to 25 foot-pounds, so that's not all that much. Alright, so I've got my torque wrench set to 25 foot-pounds. And we want your 17-inch wrench to hold it in place. And that's it. And we're going to do the same on the bottom. Oops. There it goes. There we go, 25 foot-pounds. All right. And the lugs on the wheels should be tightened to 76 foot-pounds. Okay, so now this side's done. We just need to do the other side. And once you're done, you need to remember to put the cap back on the brake fluid reservoir and also get in and pump up the brakes before you go anywhere. That will help set the calipers in position so that they're ready for use. Alright, so if you got something out of this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to help support the channel, please consider subscribing or becoming a member by clicking the join button below. Thanks for watching. Take care.